Sewing Simplicity Dress S9294, the bodice. Please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. For this pattern, I decided to sew S9294, which is a Gertie sewing pattern. It's a really pretty dress, and I wanted to do one more summer dress before I move on to fall. So here I've cut out the material, and I've got my pattern ready, and we're just going to dive into this and with a nice powdery light blue color. Something that shouts spring and summer. Even though it is getting cooler, I couldn't resist it. So I went ahead and cut out my size and all of the pieces just so that I don't have to lose any of the sizes. I like to keep all the sizes intact. I never know if I might be sewing this dress for someone else later, or if I will need to resell this pattern, then I just like keeping all of my sizes intact, and I always have done this. As usual, I use the parchment paper. You could actually use proper tracing paper, but I don't. And then like the things like the pocket and the skirt, I just cut away what I don't need. The pocket is one size for everything. And then I just went and took a look at her instructions, and we're going to start with darts and then go on to the interfacing. Darts make everything beautiful. All right, so here are my pieces for the bodice, and I've got my darts pinned. And now I'm ready to go ahead and stitch them and then start basting in the interfacing. Here's my interfacing, and I'm basting it in the front, getting it all nice and pinned and basted in so I can move on to the back. Here are the back pieces. I'm just gonna go ahead and draw in the darts on the back, and of course I am doing this 2 times because this is a fully lined bodice, so it is a bit more work, but it's totally worth it when it comes to putting it together and wearing it. I love fully lined garments. So yeah, I am doing 4 back pieces so that everything will be nice and lined. And this is my water soluble pen, so it will have disappearing ink, which is very convenient. And of course, if you ever use these, you still want to test it on the fabric just in case. This fabric actually is really soft and comfortable, so I know I'm gonna love wearing it. And then after I draw them, of course, I just go ahead and pin them, following the lines as best as possible, so when I take them to the machine, I don't have to worry, it will be lined up properly. Here's what it looks like. All right, so these are all 4 of the back pieces pinned and ready to go to the machine. I already tested a strip of fabric to make sure that my settings on the machine would work really well. And I'm just using plain white thread for this, a polyester thread, which seems to be nice and strong. And at the end of the dart, you want to tie it off at the point. This is going to make it nice and clean for you. And then of course you want to press them. I don't have a tailor's ham, so what I tend to use is a very small pillow, which I had made a while back, and it works just as well. So pressing those darts is essential. And after, I just kind of just press all of them at the same time. So after I've got all of my darts sewed, I take them all and I press all of them. All right, and here is the back part. Now I've got to make sure I do the interfacing for this. And I'm just gonna pin that, baste it in, just like I did for the front piece. And these stitches are, of course, the largest stitch length that I have on my machine, so that way I can rip them out later as needed. Now I'm gonna go ahead and put the shoulder pieces together on both the lining and the outer part of the fabric. So sewing those shoulders together so I can press those seams open. Okay, and yes, you have to do it for both the lining and the outer piece. So it does take pretty much twice as long. But after you've got that done, you're ready to put the lining in with the outside of the garment. And it's going to feel really great to wear. It's going to lay well. You're going to have the shape that you want. Really, I think a lining is actually a bit better than a facing. Facings are, I don't know, a little finicky, but a lining is just, it's wonderful to wear, and you're not going to have to worry about finishing the edges because they will be finished within themselves, right? So it takes some time to really line up everything and pin it. That probably, I was surprised at how long it took just to pin it properly all the way around so that I could stitch all the way around the garment. That took quite a bit of time. Okay, so now that we're finishing up there, we're going to take it over to the machine and we're just going to stitch this on. And of course, at the bottom of the bodice, you don't stitch because you need to be able to pull it through. So I went as slow as I could around those corners, trying to keep them nice and clean and crisp. And after stitching it all together, then you want to clip all the corners to make sure that it's going to be able to pull through nicely. All right, so here it is after I have reversed it, pressed it. Now I'm going to stitch the sides together of the bodice back and the bodice fronts. And this is the inside of the garment. Now I decided I wanted to add some embroidery. So I pressed the embroidery pattern, but I found that it didn't press well on both of the sleeves because I wanted to have a pattern on both sleeves. So I used a lamp and I traced it with the water-soluble pen onto my fabric using the light. And this is what it looks like when it's done. And I have the pattern done on each of the sleeves. Just a little extra detail. That took quite a bit of time, but it's quite beautiful and unique. So now I'm ready to go ahead and prepare the sleeves, stitching them together. Also, I added this detail just along the Sweetheart neckline. And I thought I would add some more embroidery, but I think actually I'm just going to leave it the way it is, with most of the detail being on the sleeves. Possibly I will add more to the skirt, but the bodice, I think I'm finished with that. So I'm preparing the sleeves next, going ahead and stitching them together, hemming them, and then I'm pinned them to fit them in the sleeve hole. And I find that if you do them both at the same time, then after you pin them, you can check and make sure that they look pinned in the same way. For example, if you have more gathers at the top on the left shoulder, you want to have more gathers at the top on the right shoulder. And that's how I've learned to ease in the sleeves much better, and they look way better when I do them together. Then I don't have to remember how I did the other one. I can see it at the same time. So at this point I'm getting really excited because it's starting to look very, very complete, and it's just mostly come together. So I just took it over, stitched it, and here is the bodice portion. It's complete. I'm ready to move on to the skirt now, and it's so beautiful, and I'm just so happy with it, and I think it's the prettiest thing I've made so far. So look at that. Look at that embroidery. I am just in love with it, and I hope you like it too. I hope that you embroidery some of your clothing or whatever you like to make, because I don't know, it's just something special and beautiful. So that's it for the bodice, and I will make the skirt next week. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day, and please leave a comment. What are you working on? What do you want to see? Thank you so much.